Evening, how you all doing tonight? Awesome. Wow, that was really exciting. I don't think the annual meeting has ever had a woo! You must be left over from the earlier in the day from something that was fun. No. That'll do it. Getting liquored up. My name is David Brown, and welcome to the annual meeting of MAB Community Services, everyone's favorite night of the year. If you're anything like me, you already have your annual report. I've looked at it just to make sure my name is spelled correctly, and it is. Thank you very much, Laura. Very good eyes on that. And there's only one time out of the year that I can wear the socks that I have on. My MAB Community Services socks. Aren't those nice? Wow. I guess so. I will put you on my holiday list. So tonight, in the annual meeting, we'll do a little business, as we always do. We will honor those in the community who have helped us work towards inclusion over the past 50 years of MAB, Adult Disability Services. And then we're also going to have a roundtable discussion on gaining independence with ADS participants and expert voices. And as always, we're going to wrap up with CEO Barbara Salisbury giving the state of the state, not only on MAB Community Services, but about disability inclusion over the past 120 years. It won't take as long as 120 years, but Barbara will wrap up. But to kick things off this evening, please welcome Stephanie Fidel, President of the Board of MAB Community Services.
I'm not entirely sure my remarks are all that funny. But nonetheless, they are heartfelt and sincere, and they begin with a thank you to all of you who are in the room and for all that you do for this organization year-round. I don't think Tommy Vitolo is here. If he were, I would thank him. He's a state rep from Brookline. But Mary McCauley, I believe, is here, although she doesn't follow directions. She's not sitting in her assigned seat. And Mary's sitting over there. She's the executive director of the Massachusetts Office on Disability, and we're very grateful to all Mary does for us as well. So in the sort of thank you vein, and before we start our program, there are a lot of people here in the audience that we would like to acknowledge. First of all, we'll start with Boston University and WBUR for hosting us here in this space. Without them, who knows where we would be meeting. Baker's Best Catering. I hope you all had an opportunity to take advantage of the cheese plate and other hors d'oeuvres. And speaking of taking advantage of, I hope that you were able to see and meet with our assistive technology vendors who had been in the back of the room. Cognitopia, Easter Seals, Massachusetts, Improve on Health, Jennifer Peterson, who is here from the Department of Developmental Services, and Safe and Home. Thank you. In advance, I'd like to thank Kevin Berner from the MGH Institute of Health Professions, who will be joining our roundtable on gaining independence. And of course, all of our amazing volunteers from the Boston University chapter of Delta Gamma and the National Charity League Middlesex chapter. So thank you to all of you. 2023 was a remarkable year for MAB, full of challenges, opportunities, and growth. Since its founding in 1903, MAB Community Services created life-changing opportunities for people living with a range of disabilities through the work of its three divisions. The Massachusetts Association for the Blind and Visually Impaired, known by all as MAB-V, the Adult Disability Services Division, and the Ivy Street School. During tonight's meeting, we will focus on MAB's Adult Disability Services Division, which supports more than 300 participants with intellectual disabilities and brain injuries. Tonight, you will meet three incredible Community Partner Award winners, dedicated adult disability services staff, and 4 participants who are driven to achieve greater independence, which is at the core of all that we do in that division. For anyone who needs assistance, volunteers are stationed to your right inside the door to the lobby. And thank you again for coming, and I hope that you enjoyed the program. Thank you.
All right, Stephanie, thank you so much. I'm next pleased to introduce Jack Corrigan, who is Vice President of MAB's Board of Directors and Chair of the Nominating Committee. He's going to present the slate of officers and board members. Jack?
Welcome back, David. We miss you.
He never left.
I know, but that's good. So my job tonight is to nominate the slate of MAB Community Services officers, directors, executive committee, and finance committee. So first, the officers. I now place in nomination the following officers for MAB Community Services Board of Directors: Stephanie Fidel as president, vice president Jack Corrigan, aforementioned, treasurer Michael Widmer, secretary Beverly Brown. Do I have a second?
Second.
All in favor? All opposed? The ayes have it. Now, the Board of Directors. I now place in nomination the members of the board: Teresa Belmonte, Beverly Brown, myself, Pam Goodman, Judge Margaret Guzman, Doug Katz, Alexis Malkin, Michael O'Friel, Bill Rader, Paul Sainer, Barry Schrage, great man, Michael Widmer, also a great man, Michelle Durham, Michael Ellenbogen, Stephanie Fidel, George Hertz, Suzanne Cates, Jean McGuire, Judith Paprin, Karen Quigley, and Linda Sharp, Stephen Calhoun, Randy Coven, Catherine Craven, Norman Lang, great man, David Whitlock. Do I have a second? All in favor? Any opposed? The ayes have it. So now I have to place in nomination the chairs and members of the Executive Committee and the Finance Committee. The Executive Committee consists of the officers whom we've just voted for. That would be Stephanie Fidel, the chair, myself, Michael Widmer, the treasurer, and Beverly Brown, our secretary, and 4 board members: Norman Lang, Linda Sharp, Mike O'Friel, and Judge Margaret Guzman. Can I get a second? Second? Come on, Kat, speak up. All opposed? And it's all in favor? Any opposed? The ayes have it. Finance Committee. The chair is Michael Widmer. The nomination for chair is Michael Widmer. The members are Steve Calhoun, George Hertz, Stephen Cates, Michael O'Friel, and Paul Sainer. Second? All in favor? Any opposed? The ayes have it. Thank you. It's my pleasure to serve with you, and now I'm supposed to turn it back over to you.
No one does the slate of officers better than you, Jack Corrigan. So, community. That is MAB Community Services' middle name. Our partners in the community allow us to do the work. They inspire creativity, they finance the work, and they connect us to the broader world. Each of our winners this evening has demonstrated outstanding commitment to MAB Community Services and the Adult Disability Services Division. Our partners go above and beyond to ensure that MAB achieves the mission of supporting lives with people with disabilities as they live full and satisfying lives. Maxo Joseph died on April the 26th, 2020, 6 weeks into the pandemic. It was a scary time for MAB, and in particular for our residential homes. The board of directors of MAB Community Services stepped up in remarkable ways. They delivered food to supplies our houses. Channel 5's 5 for Good series aired a segment on their generosity, and that caught the attention of Jay Lupica. Jay is a trustee of the Patricia W. and Alfred E. Farah Charitable Gift Fund. Jay was moved by Maxo's 20-year dedication to MAB and his full life as an immigrant to the United States. In a conversation with Jay, it reminded him of his grandfather. Jay wanted to be part of something big, So he created 2 matching challenge grants that launched the Max O. Joseph Excellent in Direct Care Award. The program provides real recognition and cash rewards for 11 exceptional adult disability services direct care staff each year. We just celebrated the 3rd year of the awards. Here tonight to present to Jay Lupica is MAB Board of Director Barry Schrag, and following the Max O. Joseph Award winners from MAB's Adult Disability Services Division are Haley Kinnan, Choice Omotawan, and let me turn the page to page 12. Margaret Saki, Saeed Barco, Renisa Prince, Juliana Arthur, Johnson Forarusso, and Amatria Simmons. Barry, come on up. Yes, oh yeah, also come up now. And you can be behind Barry as he gives the award. So yeah, get out of your seats. You guys look so nice tonight. You dressed up. You guys are all photo worthy. Great to see you. Thanks.
Wow, this is an enormous honor to have been asked to do this. But I have to sort of correct Jack because every 4th or 5th person he declared was a great man, right? So I just want to stipulate that all of the other people, men and women, were all great people. And I know. And I know Jack felt that way because Jack is about, it's like he's the perfect community leader. So he must have known all of that. And I'm just speaking for him in those terms. So it's my job to talk about Jay. So I thought about this a lot. And I thought about the Max O. Joseph Award and who Max O. Joseph was. There's a kind of an interesting concept in the Jewish religion. It's called the 36 righteous. It's a very strange concept. It says that the world exists on account of these 36 righteous. And there's another idea. It says that the world exists because of learning, Torah, and avoda, the service of God, and acts of loving kindness. So somehow if one of the righteous is no longer there, the foundations of the world begin to shake. I think you can see that the foundations of the world are indeed shaking for a lack of loving kindness, for a lack of caring. I'm so proud to be on this board because I think MAB really represents loving kindness and caring. So when Max O. Joseph died, he died in service. He died in service of loving kindness and in service of the Word of God and in service of caring, and he was part of what was actually preserving the world, I think. So somebody had to stand up, and I think that was Jay. I think Jay decided to stand up. You said something when you were talking about Jay before. You said that he was seeking to be part of something bigger. But it wasn't bigger in terms of fame. It was something bigger in terms of being tied to humanity in some kind of a critical way. So MAB I've been thinking a lot as government after government completely fails to serve the needs of the people. Politicians turn to something not very pretty, without mentioning any names, God forbid. But so what happens? The not-for-profit sector, we have to step in. Volunteers step in. This is an incredible thing happened in Israel. Like all of a sudden, 200,000 volunteers. The government fell out, and all of a sudden, people were coming out to actually do the work, the caring work, to take care of people. Forget about the politics or the war. Just taking care of human beings. And isn't that what we do? Isn't that what we do? And the thing that's part of the theme today, are ways. The instruments that can be used to restore human dignity. What's more important than human dignity? I mean, we can feed people, make sure they don't kill themselves, make sure that they're well, but to have within our hearts the idea that every human being deserves human dignity, and to have staff that can do that. Max O. Joseph was a symbol of what that means. My own daughter worked for MAB, and I know how sweet and wonderful she is, and because she cares, and that's what this is. Jay gave up huge amounts of his time and his business, but he's going to be. But at the end of the day, he made a good choice, because he will be remembered for the kindness. And whether you believe in God or not, remembered in the mind of God or whatever superior being you think there is, that you will be remembered, not because of how much money you made, but because of you did some good. You made a person self-sufficient. You gave a person dignity. You gave a person a job, That's what we're here to do. And when we forget that, then indeed the foundations of the world begin to shake, and we need to rediscover it. And we discover it in human service, and we discover it because of people like Jay and the wonderful thing that he's done, basically to provide dignity to the workers who, I was wondering where that was. To the workers who actually carry the burden. The real 36, righteous, humble, never seen. Who knew about Maxo Joseph? Who knew? He was in the background. Every one of the people who work here work their fingers to the bone in order to do something good. And Jay recognized them, and that's why we recognize Jay for his goodness. Thank you. And now we have other people who want to talk. Haley? You're up.
Hi, I'm Haley. I'm from Individual Sports. I'm going to lower this a little. I'm a little short. Money is a loaded word. It exudes power on one hand and struggle on the other. Our lives are built around having enough money to survive, and we know that there are many instances where those with money seek more of it, and those without are left scraping by. In a country built around this system, generosity can feel hard to come by, leaving us exhausted and stressed in our daily lives. Jay, you chose to use your power to relieve burden and offer encouragement to direct care workers. You chose to be generous, to change lives, with the hope of a continued generosity to the participants that we all care so deeply for. This is no small feat in our world, and I continue to be thankful for your kindness and compassion to the field. Thank you so much for your continued support and kindness towards us.
Now, Margaret, step up and... You go, girl.
Good evening. I'm Margaret Saki. I work for Individual Support. Thank you very much, Barbara, for inviting me. And thank you for allowing me to give this short speech. Jay, thank you so much for what you have done for us. I've been a direct care worker for the longest time, and people don't even recognize us until the death of Maxo Joseph, when you came on board to recognize us. I used to say, we know today, we don't know tomorrow, we don't know our futures. So that's why when I do my direct care, when I help people with special needs or seniors, I try to do them to the best of my abilities. I like to bring smiles, love into people's life. I just want to thank you again for what you've done. You've done so much for us, and you show how much you love direct care workers. Once again, if you don't use your life wisely, it's not going to be useful. So we that are alive, we need to use our life. Then we need to love each other, make new friends, smile a lot, and bring everybody together. Thank you so much for all what you've done for us.
to light up the whole room. And now Choice? Choice is not here. Choice is not here? Okay, in that case, thank you very much. Thank you, everybody, for your beautiful words. Thank you, Jay, for what you've done.
All right. Thank you all for being here and supporting MAB. It's a part of the reason why it was so easy to get involved and start this Maxo Joseph Award, although all of you who know Maxo know that his fabulous smile and participation is what really drives this. But I stand up here, and this is now the third or fourth time we've done this, and every time we pick the winners from the selection committee, I'm not amazed, but I'm so encouraged by how much all of the participants put into their lives, and without really expecting anything back from it. So I feel I'm the lucky one in these recipients because they are the really hard workers. I get to show up. Although, Barbara, you said it was going to be easy. All I had to do was get the plaque and go off the stage, and now I have to talk. I don't think anything more can be said than what David and Stephanie, and particularly Barry, have said about MAB. But this and the others who have also won are testament to what this little thought process was. And David, you're right, we talked about it during May, I think it was, during the middle of COVID, and it did come as an idea that popped into my head, but it wasn't without a lot of help from Barbara and David to really get this thing off the ground, keep it going. I was telling David earlier tonight that I am just amazed at how much has been raised in Maxo's name in addition to what we started with. And I think that is really the testament to what you all do in the organization. And as any good organization goes, it's the people behind it that contribute every day, sometimes without thanks, sometimes without money. This is a great thing, I think, that can be done with MAB, and I really think it's going to be even bigger in the future. So I'm looking forward to that. Thank you all very much.
Pictures of you also. Where would you like them? Over there? Right where they are. Okay. Can we get some pictures of you guys? While they take their photos. Headquartered in Boston, Goodwin is an international law firm that has provided MAB and the Adult Disability Services Division with exceptional pro bono support. Before I came on stage, Barbara said to me, "Don't steal Barry's thunder." Who could steal Barry's thunder? Exceptional. Okay, as we were saying, headquartered in Boston, Goodwin is an international law firm that has provided MAB and the Adult Disability Services Division with exceptional pro bono support. Please join me in welcoming Angelica Rankins, associate with Goodwin, and award presenters Alison Abdul, MAB's Chief Human Resource Officer, and Susan Whalen. Thank you.
Well, I am really delighted to be here tonight, but I am especially delighted to be able to present this community award to the law firm of Goodwin Proctor, represented here tonight by Angelica Rankins. I came to MAB in September of 2018 with the goal of working with Barbara and the team to make MAB an employer of choice and implement HR best practices. Little did I know that within a week of starting, a former MAB employee would file a baseless lawsuit against MAB that would unfortunately consume a lot of my time and that of many others for 4 years. By all accounts, the lawsuit was not based in fact, but as you likely know, that does not matter. Regardless of its legitimacy, any lawsuit needs to be handled seriously and addressed with all due diligence and care. And in this case, there was also a lot at stake beyond the impact to MAB, as the goal of the lawsuit was to establish a class action suit that, if prevailed, would have changed the pay classification of residential program managers at MAB, greatly increased the costs for residential programs, and would have had dire consequences for the entire human services provider community. I happen to have been involved in a very similar lawsuit with my previous employer and knew we were in for a very tough, expensive, and labor-intensive slog. Countless hours would be required to locate, duplicate, analyze, and share every document related to the suit, as well as to hire a legal team to manage all of this. It would be a momentous task. The costs of defending this suit also had the potential to quite literally bankrupt MAB. This was, of course, part of their strategy, to force MAB to settle instead of litigating. This is when our CEO, Barbara, involved our board of directors in developing a strategy to fight the suit. Quite fortunately for us, Michael O'Friel, our former board president and board member for many years, had the brilliant idea to reach out to Goodwin Procter to see if they were willing and able to take on this case pro bono. I'd now like to turn things over to Susan Whalen, MAB's employment attorney, who was the quarterback on this case, serving as the liaison between MAB and Goodwin, and who collaborated with us and them on every step of the case and the legal strategy. Many, many thanks to Susan for her work and that of the Goodwin team, and especially Angelica, for a successful outcome, which again took 4 years to get to.
Thank you. Thank you, Allison. It was really fortuitous that Michael Friel had a relationship with Goodwin in his professional life and was able to reach out to them, and they were able to agree to represent MAB pro bono. As Allison said, this would have been absolutely it would have been bankrupt MAB in terms of this type of litigation. We were very thankful that Goodwin had their team, Brad Smith, who's a partner, Kevin Martin is partner, Eugene Dinero was an associate, and then, of course, Angelica. Angelica's here tonight and representing the team. They were an absolutely wonderful collaborative partner. We all worked many long and hard hours, but without Goodwin's resources, we would not have been able to bring the matter to a successful resolution. Angelica was assigned the case as a brand new lawyer, remembering those years. So yes, she was a brand new lawyer, but you wouldn't know it. She really had poise. She's so smart, really dedicated, and really committed to assisting MAB and MAB's mission and understanding the impact this case would have on direct care providers in the Commonwealth. She worked countless hours researching the law, drafting pleadings, keeping track of the hundreds and hundreds and thousands, actually, it was actually thousands, it was really thousands of pages of discovery that Allison's team and Sean and the ADS team was really, had to participate in. It took so much time from our the critical mission that MAB provides to really have boots on the ground in the organization to defend this lawsuit. And as Allison said, it really was not based in fact, but that doesn't matter. We had to prove it. Angelica, she took the lead in oral argument for the motions for summary judgment and successfully defeated the class action, which really was the key. Once that happened, the case really folded like a house of cards. So, again, watching Angelica really develop into, she was started off as a great attorney, but she was young, first year, and really this case over 4 years, really, she did a fantastic job. So it was a wonderful working relationship. I'm thankful to have had such a wonderful and professional collaboration with Goodwin on behalf of MAB, and I'm honored to present to Angelica and the Goodwin team the MAB Community Partner Award for 2023.
say this. I gotta say this was much better than the annual yearly review that I have every year. It went a lot better. As Susan said, this was the first case that I was handed when I walked into the doors as a new lawyer at Goodwin Proctor. And so this case was a lot of firsts for me. My first brief, my first depo I got to take, my first oral argument, everything in this case really was my baby for me. And I just am so thankful that not only Goodwin trusted me, but that MAB trusted me with such important work. And because it was, this case felt like mine, it was exciting to be doing it for such a rewarding organization that was doing great work all throughout the Commonwealth that I was able to see living in Massachusetts. And while I was under the amazing supervision of the very experienced attorneys at Goodwin, it really felt like mine. I was able to really feel ownership of it. And it was great working with Susan, was always smiling and laughing. She held my hand through a lot of it. And she was just a great collaborative partner. And I'm just very appreciative and so proud to have done work for this organization. Thank you for allowing me to be a part of it in any way that I could. And we're happy to help. I'm just glad that I was able to help you guys. So thank you so much.
I think her first name fits. Angelica. We plan to honor one more community partner tonight, Ruth Summers. Unfortunately, Ruth's grandmother passed away, so she could not join us tonight. She was very excited to be here and to receive this award. If you've worked with Ruth or had the chance to be around her, her excitement is contagious and infectious. So we're going to give her the award next year, right? And we, of course, send her and her family the very best during a very difficult time. Well, 2023 marks the 50th anniversary of MAB's Adult Disability Services. In 1973, the civil rights movement expanded to include those living with intellectual and physical disabilities. 1973 marked the beginning of deinstitutionalization. Heller Shoup, Executive Director of MAB's Adult Disability Services Division, has dedicated her career to creating and sustaining innovative programs and dedicated teams that help participants live full and satisfying lives. Please join me in welcoming Heller as she shares 50 years of adult disability services.
Hi, everybody. Well, I'm following some amazing, wonderful speakers, so that's tough, but hey, here we are. This is really a powerful moment in time for MAB Community Services and certainly for Adult Disability Services. MAB is celebrating its 120th year, and it's the 50th year of Adult Disability Services Division. And I have to say, I'm grateful, I am humbled, and as I realized today, I had to actually use a calculator to verify it, but it's true. I'm frankly shocked to say I've been a part of MAB for 28 of the 50 years, which is over half. Yeah, it wasn't for applause, it was more, oh, goodness gracious. But here we are. Anyway, so, kind of backing up, as David and others kind of gave some kind of preliminary discussion about, most of the 20th century, large state institutions were the primary support system for children and adults with developmental disabilities, with brain injury, with severe mental health issues, physical disabilities, or sadly, simply poverty. In the 60s and 1970s is really when the deinstitutionalization movements really got underway. And if we look back to 1973, when MAB got into this work of supporting people with developmental disabilities and other disabilities in the community, what was the world like? In 1973, the United States was pulling out of Vietnam. The Supreme Court ruled on Roe versus Wade, legalizing abortion. The Watergate scandal was just beginning. That's exciting. And MAB was opening its first program for people with developmental disabilities for young men moving out of the Fernald State School. And interestingly, it was also the year that the first mobile phone was born. So we had that sort of, we're moving into the community and the, early technology is coming in. So here we are in 2023, and the landscape is very different than 1973 for people with disabilities in Massachusetts and around the country. The community support system has grown exponentially, and the institutional system, while not completely closed in the Commonwealth, is no longer the go-to solution for people with disabilities and their families. Extensive resources are available for early intervention and to support families to care for their loved ones at home. Integrated educational opportunities are widely available and frankly expected in our communities, and support networks exist to allow people to live as independently as possible. Today, our Adult Disability Services Division in 2023 provides supports to adults with developmental disabilities and brain injury across an array of support options, starting with that small residential home in the Cape back in '73. We now have 30 residential programs across Greater Boston and Worcester. We have community-based day and vocational supports in Allston, Massachusetts. We have one-on-one vocational supports in 4 regions of the state. We support people to live independently in 4 regions of the state. And we have opened this summer a cutting-edge, first-of-its-kind training and rehab center in Westboro for adults with brain injury. Supports have really evolved, and they continue to evolve due to the passion, commitment, energy, and advocacy of people with disabilities, their families, industry professionals, educators, legislators, and lawyers, of course. And technology has played a huge role in expanding these opportunities over the decades. During this time, the emergence of cell phones, email, electronic medical record systems, incredible advances in assistive technologies for the whole population has opened up a new world of connection, health, and independence for people with disabilities who would have otherwise been isolated and wholly dependent on others for even their most basic needs. As we learn today about the new and emerging technologies that can revolutionize opportunities for people with disabilities, like those we have learned about here today from our innovative partners and vendors from Improve on Health, Easter Seals, Cognitopia, Safe and Home, and DDS's Director of Supportive Technologies, Jen Peterson, we know that we have entered a new era where the vision of the deinstitutionalization, self-direction, and empowerment from the 1960s and 1970s can be furthered in ways that we could scarcely envision in 1973. And like many things in our lives today, at a much faster pace. Many people with disabilities do not have the degree of privacy and independence they would ideally prefer due to barriers large and small. Perhaps memory impairment interferes with the ability to take medication safely without assistance. Maybe a young adult would like to live in their own apartment but would require in-the-moment consultation to navigate unexpected emergencies. Maybe a husband would like to do as much as possible independently after having a stroke rather than relying on his wife to assist him with eating his meals. An individual living independently needs a paid caregiver to prepare all meals when he or she would prefer really to have more privacy at those times. The sophistication and reliability of many of these new technologies allow for supports that integrate gracefully into our living environments and address these barriers in a way that promotes independence, but importantly, assists in maintaining and even increasing supportive connections with others. If a husband has devices to support him with eating dinner and brushing his teeth, for example, that's more time for the couple to be a husband and a wife. If a young adult has a remote support network, they can live in their own space, have friends over, and pursue romantic relationships without their parents. That's not me, is it? Without their, I was worried. Without their parents or other caregivers being overly present. And the individual with brain injury can choose and prepare his own meals using a smart oven, and his paid support staff can help him with other goals that are preferred and not merely driven by necessity of timing. Now, these advances are not without risks or concerns for people with disabilities or for all of us, indeed. Few of us are comforted by the thought of a world where we receive our care and support from machines and robots more than other human beings, depending on the day. The ability, though, to exercise personal, it's about choices. It's about opportunity. It's about the ability to exercise personal control. It's about privacy. It's about dignity. As MAB Adult Disability Services enters its 51st year, we are partnering with the Department of Developmental Services to offer assistive technology consultation and supports to adults with developmental disabilities in Greater Boston and Greater Worcester. Jennifer Peterson, who is with us this evening, is the Director of Supportive Technology at DDS. We plan to expand this focus and service across populations. It's an exciting time where we have unprecedented opportunity to further our mission. 2023 is a very different place than 1973. But let's imagine for a minute what the landscape for people with disabilities might look like in 2073. I did the math there too. It was astounding. We can't fully imagine, really, though, can we, what that really is going to look like? I mean, we're beginning to get an idea, but we know it's almost beyond comprehension. Things are moving so quickly. But we do know that here we are together, entering and forging the new independence frontier. What we can do as we embark on the next 50 years is imagine the vision of deinstitutionalization fully realized. Left in the rearview mirror, even. We can imagine with each passing year, every person we support will be more independent and more in control of their lives than the year prior. And new dreams are going to follow. Thank you.
Very nice, Heller. Thank you so much. Your reflections lead nicely into the next part of our program, the Roundtable on Gaining Independence. Tonight, we're featuring 2 subject matter experts and 4 participants in this roundtable. Sean Kinsella is the Director of Operations for New Business at MAB Adult Disability Services. Come on up, Sean. Kevin Berner is the Assistant Professor in the Department of Occupational Therapy at MGH Institute of Health Professions. And 4 of MAB's Adult Disability Services participants are joining us. Tim Goff, Heather Goodwin, Ashley Scanlon, hi Ashley, and Anthony Slater. Come on up, guys. Sean?
All right, so tonight is our Declaration of Independence. Independence is a subjective term. I can say that because I'm American now, right? Thank you, thank you. But independence is a subjective term. It means different things to different people. And while some of us might dream of the independence to not have to work, others dream of the independence to be able to work. But independence is important to all of us, and we like to have agency over our own lives. I see that in my teenage children, their constant pushing for greater autonomy, while I as a parent push back, offering them the amount of independence that I think they can handle and that I can cope with. While I want independence for myself, at times, it can be challenging for me as a parent to relinquish that control over my children's lives. However, as they grow older, their independence will be assumed, and my paternalism will diminish whether I like it or not. If I don't give them their independence, eventually they're going to take it for themselves, and that is their right. But when someone lives in a residential setting, so much of their life is determined by other people. What time they go to bed, what they eat, if they can date, what medications they take. Sometimes we justify this under the auspices of healthy choices, but sometimes it's really for the convenience of the caretaker or at the behest of a system that regulates certain people's lives. It's a system that's risk-averse. But risk, or at least acceptable risk, is an everyday part of life and an everyday part of independence. MAB prides itself as a leader in promoting independence, but what do we do to promote that independence while mitigating unacceptable risk? At the core of everything that we do is person-centered planning. Participants are encouraged to speak up about what independence means to them. And then there's a focus on skill building. But that skill building can take place in manageable steps. It's important not to shy away from some of the more challenging independent tasks that most of us just take for granted, like using flames in the kitchen, taking the bus, or choosing our own friends. And how has that been actioned in real terms? MAB employed a specialist, we heard about Ruth, who was going to be an award winner tonight, to create a program with the participants in their homes developing their independence. And then this was followed by a team of certified occupational therapy assistants who continued to expand on that work. And this year, we opened our groundbreaking training and rehabilitation center in Westborough, and we're in the process of developing assistive and supportive technology teams. But it's no good just working directly with the participants. Many of our staff are conditioned to take care of them, meaning that their instinct is to perform tasks like cooking, even when the participants are capable of doing it themselves. Only by embedding occupational therapy assistants into our residential model have we been able to work with the whole staff team to encourage them to take a step back, let participants do it for themselves, and when things go wrong, which they will, let them problem solve for themselves. Today, in an age of constantly emerging technologies, some of the risks that we mentioned can be mitigated in ways that we've not previously seen. So many new technologies exist, like adaptive stoves, medication dispensers, remote monitoring stations. And these enable participants to live without the in-person caretakers, but enable them to connect should the need arise. The smartphone has been transformational in providing assistive technology that has enabled people with vision loss to lead independent lives. Now, with this kind of technology becoming more and more mainstream, those same principles are being applied to people with intellectual disabilities. So, now we're going to meet our panel and learn more about their past, current, and future roads to more independent living. First, we have Dr. Kevin Berner. He's an assistant professor of occupational therapy at MGH Institute of Health Professions. His occupational therapy practice focuses on the implementation of assistive and supportive technology with individuals across the life course with a range of physical and intellectual disabilities. And then, as David said, we have 4 participants that currently live in residential programs with 24-hour staffing provided by MAB. Tim Goff, Anthony Slaughter, Ashley Scanlon, and Heather Goodwin. And I have to say, Heather is not anything to do with the Goodwin legal firm. I did see her face light up when she heard that. So, welcome, panelists. Ashley, can we start with you? So you've lived in a MAB residence for around the last 6 years. What do you currently do during the day? Do you work?
I go to a couple programs.
Okay.
I go to the clubhouse in Somerville, and I go to Gateway Arts in Brookline.
So what do you do at Gateway Arts?
I create art and I sell my art.
Wonderful. So you are a professional artist. And how does it feel to be able to call yourself an artist? I mean, I wish I could call myself an artist. I can draw stick figures. That's about it. But how does it feel to be able to call yourself an artist?
Amazing, I guess.
And is that something that you chose to do?
Yes.
Wonderful. And what kind of things do you like to do with your free time, Ashley?
Well, I like calling friends and hanging out with friends.
Yeah?
Like to watch movies and create new things that I like to paint.
I heard something about yard sales.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm good at
Ashley's a
yard
bit
sale.
famous for her yard sales, right?
Yes.
so tell us a little bit about your yard sales. Do you do that by yourself?
I
Is that
do it
an
by
idea you
myself.
came up with?
I do it by myself. I came up with it. I just needed to make some space in my room.
And some extra money?
Yes. Yes.
Great. Thank you, Ashley. So, Tim, you originally came to MAB as a student at the Ivy Street School. Do you remember how long ago that was?
Sorry, guys. Maybe a tissue or something for his gum, please. I did not spit this coming out in advance. Thanks. Hey, bro. Sorry about that, ladies. Well, I came to Ivy Street, I think it was 16, 17, early 2002.
Yeah. It's been a long time, right?
It's been a while.
I knew you when you were a teenager.
And I've known you since you were a Brit.
When Tim was at the school, he always used to come to my office and say, "Good day, mate."
Yeah, that's
I was
true.
Like, no, I'm English.
I was on the Australian, Sean. No offense, buddy.
So, Tim, now you're an adult. Do you work?
Yeah, but I'm stationed at Trader Joe's in West Newton. Love
Trader
that place.
Joe's, yeah. And do you enjoy your work?
Can I be honest about this?
Yeah. You're going to be anyway.
If Anastasia's in the room, don't hear this. I don't think Trader Joe's was my calling at one point, but the USMC was my calling, but I didn't take that.
So Trader Joe's was not your first choice. It's not something that you independently chose. It's something that within the team that you work with,
Yeah.
it was a mutual decision made with you for you to work there, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And what do you like to do with your spare time?
Well, I have a lot of hobbies.
Yeah.
How many can I say, Mr. Sean?
We're under a time limit here, so whiz
well-
through them, Tim.
Well, I like to listen to my boy Johnny Cash, rest in peace.
Fabulous.
And I like hanging with my family.
Yeah.
And I also like to pull rank on the MAB staff. I respect.
That's true. So your family, they don't live locally, right? Your family live a little ways away. So,
Yep.
So how do you get to go and see your family? And how have you got to see them in the past?
Well, regarding the COVID pandemic, it was a little crazy for my mom and my brother because my mom is a terrific girl, a terrific woman, a terrific mother, and she actually cried when I came home last year on Thanksgiving for the first time.
Yeah.
Because I'm her little boy. I'm not a boy anymore. I'm 37. Mom, why do you always embarrass me?
Right. And how do you get there? And
From the staff from the house. Sometimes I had to call my friends from home and come and get me.
And did you used to go on the bus and the train?
I used to go on the bus a lot to my brothers.
Yeah. And the train?
Yep, point A, point B.
Yeah. Absolutely. All right. So, Anthony, how long have you been at MAB?
No, I enjoy work. I went to work clip since 2012.
2012. And you work at, where is it you work?
Bay Cove
Bay
Human
Cove.
Services.
And how do you get to Bay Cove?
I take the in-between bus and the train every day,
Great.
Monday to Friday.
And what do you do on the weekends?
I go downtown, like go downtown Mall, Davis Square, or Porter Square.
And do you go down there by yourself or does
Yes.
somebody go with you?
I go by myself.
Would you like a staff member to go with you?
Yes.
You would?
You know why? Because I just want to go by myself.
You want to go by yourself?
Yes.
Right. You don't want a staff member looking over your shoulder while you're doing your thing, right?
Yeah, because I want to get home too late.
Right. So for you, it's important for you to have that independence to be able to go out by yourself and do your things by yourself, right?
Yes.
Fabulous. So Heather, your story is a little bit different, and you're one of our newer residents. You moved to MAB last year, and prior to that, you were in a nursing facility for 6 years. What led you to be in the nursing facility? What happened before you were in the nursing facility? Heather?
Yeah, I don't understand what you're asking me.
How did you get your brain injury?
Oh, now I know what you're talking about. I was unfortunately a passenger on a motorcycle, and I fainted and fell off. I was in a coma for 3 months, and then I moved to Cambridge Nursing Home, and then the Worcester Nursing Home.
Right, and you were there for 6 years.
Yeah.
And now you're at Snow Road in Grafton.
Yeah.
And how is life different now that you're not in the nursing facility?
Absolutely wonderful. Because when I first moved in, I moved in by myself for 3 months. And then we had other people move in. So it was a little rough just getting used to the house, and because it was a brand new house. And so just getting into the routine of things was a little difficult, but I got there.
Wonderful. And what kind of things do you do for yourself that you weren't able to do in the nursing facility?
Walk,
Yeah.
because I was in a wheelchair in the nursing home,
Yeah.
and now I use a walker.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's wonderful.
Who brings you your coffee?
I make it myself. I cook by myself or for everyone. And I make my coffee. I do everything myself except take my medication.
Is anything special happening this weekend? Is it this weekend?
No.
Last weekend?
Last weekend. My granddaughter, no, I'm sorry. My daughter got married. It was, oh my God, it was the best time ever.
Wonderful. And I understand you've recently started going to MAB's new training and rehabilitation center.
Yes.
Can you tell me anything about that?
Yes, I love to. I go 5 days a week. But I'm going to change it to 3 days because I'd like to get a job somewhere. I don't care where it is. So that way I can, give them my options on the days off that I have.
What kind of things do you do at the training center?
Everything. I work out with physical therapy. I do current events. I do everything. Anything they want me to do, I do it.
Flower arranging, OT.
What?
Flower arranging?
No.
No, you don't do the flower arranging? Okay. We have a flower arranging program there, but
No,
apparently
that-
Heather isn't part
that
of that.
I don't like, but we're gonna start. We're gonna start to crochet, and I can start a swimming class in a couple of months.
Great.
Yeah, which I can't wait for.
And the idea of the training center is that occupational therapy and physical therapy are integrated into every activity that we do. So everything has a purpose. And it's not like a traditional day program where OT and PT may be in there a couple of hours a week. It is run by the therapy department. The director is an occupational therapist. So it's very therapy based.
Yeah.
Wonderful.
Yeah,
Thank you, Heather.
you're welcome.
So Ashley, back to you. Do you want to continue living where you live, or would you like to move out by yourself?
I would like to move out by myself
You want to move out by yourself?
or with a friend,
Yeah, or with a friend, right? But without 24-hour staffing, right?
Right.
So What skills do you need to be able to have to do that?
Just the normal everyday skills you're supposed to have, I guess.
Things like cooking,
Cooking, cleaning,
paying bills,
yeah, paying bills and
taking medications.
yes,
And do you do any of those things in your house now?
yes, I do. I cook for myself and I clean for myself.
Are there any of those that you don't do right now?
Take my own meds.
Don't take your
I
own.
don't give myself my own meds.
And is there anything we can do to support you in getting those skills that you need?
Learning my medications.
Yeah. Great. Thank you, Ashley. And Tim, I know that you would like to live by yourself as well, right?
That's debatable, Sean.
Or, okay. Thanks, Tim. I thought we'd rehearse this, Tim. Come on.
Well, if I may speak for myself, Sean, about
Yes,
this.
you can.
Why is everyone laughing at me? Well, I could actually speak from my guardian, which he's not here tonight, my older brother. He always says, Mike did not kill me for saying any roots. He basically would tell me, you got to step up and be a man, not a little kid. There's the right way to do and the wrong way to do. And basically, I would love to move out of Woodcliff. Sorry about trash talk my friends. Because Ivy Street taught me a lot of ropes and skills. If I was not at Ivy Street, I would just I'm not sure what I would have done, but I love MAB Works. I love the staff, and I am very grateful I have Woodcliff.
Great.
But there's one caveat about this thing.
Sure.
I have a dream of recording some Johnny Cash on radio if I could find a recording album. Don't let me down at the Christmas party this year, Heller.
Hey, so, Tim, I have a question. How would your mom feel about you moving out?
Oh, no. I'm seeing you tomorrow. No, remind me. God almighty. I think my mom would probably have my oak leaf if I moved out in advance.
So what are some of the things that maybe we could do to make mom feel more confident about you moving out?
Having a set in stone, like a chart down the line.
Uh-huh.
Because at the program, I always try to convince I always try to convince Anastasia and Renisa to help me out, but they always say, if you want to move out, you got to take the bus every day. But too bad not tomorrow, Anastasia. Woo! But I think if I move out, I'm moving far away from the day program as possible.
Thank you, Tim.
You're welcome, Sean.
All right. So Anthony, I understand, and you can correct me if I'm wrong, I understand that you like living with your roommates and you like having the staff members in the house and you don't want to move out. Is that right?
Yes.
But I hear that one of the things that you like to do is to cook.
I like to cook some chicken, rice and beans,
Yeah?
some plantains,
Yeah.
and I like to cook some cornbread. So my mom used to cook before she died.
Right. And I've heard that you don't just like to cook, but you're like a really good cook.
Yes, I am.
It's the place to go, right?
Yes.
Yeah. After this.
Yes.
How does it make you feel when you cook for people?
I feel good to cook them.
Are you proud of your skills?
Yes.
Wonderful. And Heather, you said that you like it at Snow Road and you don't really want to move out. You said that you are interested in getting a job. What are some of the things that you are doing to work on getting a job?
I have help, and she did my resume for me, and she's applied to 3 different places for me, because I watch her do it on the computer, because I can't use it right now. But
And you're working with OT and PT to build up your strength.
Yeah.
And you might want an OT or PT assessment when you have a job, just to see if there's any adaptations that need doing.
yeah,
Great.
yeah.
All right. So thank you to our 4 residents for
Thank
giving
you.
us an insight into their lives. So Kevin, we see that each of our panelists here have different skills. They have different objectives. Perhaps you could walk us through some of the technological solutions that might help them in achieving their goals.
Well, well, thank you so much, Sean, for the introduction, and thank you so much here, Heather and Ashley and Tim and Anthony, as the true experts in independent living, to help us engage in this conversation tonight. And I appreciate the privilege to be up here on the stage with all of you.
Thank you.
So assistive technology is defined by federal law as any product or system or item that is designed to or that can improve the functioning of an individual with a disability. And that's a pretty broad definition. And many of us think of kind of the specialized devices like walkers or power wheelchairs or dedicated communication devices. But that definition includes all mainstream devices as well. And we had a great overview from Heller earlier about what has happened over the past 50 years, but technology has changed a great deal in that time too. And thanks to technology innovations and thanks to the development of universal design principles, and then those universal design principles being included in the development of everyday technologies, these everyday technologies are more accessible and available and usable by individuals with diverse abilities for a variety of things. And that can make kind of ordinary technology used in an extraordinary way, and used in a way that can help with independence and maintaining safety in the community and at work. So in thinking about how individuals might utilize those technologies, I know, Heather, you shared when I met you last week that you're looking toward working and you're very much looking forward to different opportunities for jobs, but you're still working on helping your right hand improve. And I'm an occupational therapist by background, and I know that we have a lot of gadgets and devices that we often use to help in the kitchen and at home and on the work site. But technology advances now have been able to bring manufacturing and production of devices out of factories and into communities. So with 3D printing, they have online repositories of gadgets that were created by other individuals and other designers around the world that we can download to computers and print up right there in the moment, and have some of those gadgets and devices available. Or if we're innovative, we can partner with an individual and develop a custom device with their need using free online computer-aided design CAD software. And that's something that wasn't possible 50 years ago, but that's something that we can kind of incorporate now, depending on what those needs are going to be in that workplace. Yeah. So Tim, and hearing about your plans that you shared and that Sean shared as well, there are so many tools for kind of being independent in the home, and getting some of those cues that you currently or have been getting from staff, but having some of those devices help with those cues as well. So you can go back to having meaningful friendships and relationships and save those we call them nag alerts from our devices. And I have them set for myself at home. So every night my smart speaker announces at 9 o'clock, Kevin, check to make sure you've locked the doors. Yeah, so thinking about, how some of those smart devices that were made for everyone to have, and they're low cost, but they can provide those extraordinary supports to help maintain independence and to help maintain safety. Thinking about smart stoves as well that can alert you on your phone that it's still on when you're leaving your home.
I need that. I definitely need that.
We can certainly all benefit from that. So that's it. So Anthony, I was thinking about your cooking,
Yeah.
and it sounds like you don't need any help with that at all. You were describing some of your recipes, and I certainly want to come by your place for dinner at some point because I love soul cooking. But one of my colleagues the other day started using ChatGPT and some of the generative AI software to generate lists of recipes based upon the ingredients that someone has in their kitchen at that time. So almost like a reverse cookbook. So if they're not able to get out to the supermarket to acquire things, or they need to, they have 6 ingredients and they need to make something that can meet a diabetic or low salt diet, you can type those ingredients into the ChatGPT, and it will output several recipes that you're able to make in that particular moment.
Okay.
What's it called again?
Oh, it's generative artificial intelligence, and now it's a little ChatGPT. Mm-hmm.
That's what I want to
Yeah.
know.
But it's still in its earliest stages, so I think we've all been introduced to it this year, and we're going to see how it's incorporated into other mainstream devices, and it'll be more user-friendly.
Yeah, because I love to cook too. So that's why I was asking.
Me too. What's your favorite? What's your specialty?
Shepherd's pie.
Oh, yeah.
Okay. This is the right season for that. This is the right season for shepherd's pie.
So, Kevin, I was thinking of some of the mainstream things. Like in my house, I have Alexas everywhere. And in my son's room, all of his outlets are Alexa enabled, which is great for me because when he is up past his bedtime, I can turn his lights out from anywhere in the house without him knowing it was me. He might have worked it out by now. But I'm thinking about how things like that can also help in some of these instances. I'm thinking like people who maybe don't have great mobility and can't get up to switch their lights out and things like that.
Yeah. What I love about that innovation as well is that we had that technology 20 years ago, but all that home automation technology was very expensive. So the device that would perform those operations were $10,000. So in order to get that funded, what was very challenging, and it really wasn't a user-friendly device. So it required someone who is a specialist to be able to install those devices. But with the Alexa and the smart plugs, they're mainstream, and they've people are familiar with them. They have better instructions for installing, and people are more familiar with them for troubleshooting and maintaining. So again, taking those mainstream tools, but using them to promote independence is very helpful. So using that Alexa to turn lights on and off, or you can use the Alexa with the screen to see who's at your door through that camera doorbell. So you can screen who is there and communicate with someone who is there prior to having to get up and go and open the door. Or I've helped configure individuals' phones so they can screen who's at their door and then use another app to remotely unlock that door to let a caregiver or family member in.
That's great.
Yeah.
I use it when nobody answers the phone. I use the drop-in version, and it announces my voice throughout the whole house.
Great.
Then they can't ignore me.
Yeah. And you can also play a prank right now and open up your phone and turn all the lights out from the stage here at
I have the app on my phone to do that and see what they're watching on TV as well. So, while we're jesting about this, for somebody, like Tim or Ashley, who might want to live by themselves, but might need some additional kind of backup support. You know, there are those mainstream options, but there are also those specialized options as well that can provide additional monitoring.
Yeah, absolutely. There are some great specialized systems, and many of those systems are kind of built off of that innovation or even the platforms of those mainstream devices that had great innovations. But they take it to another level. Some systems that can provide some remote monitoring, supervision, or even interaction at a distance. So someone can still have the option of support without having to have that individual in the room with them or living in that home or home environment.
I also think about things like, wearable health devices, those kinds of things that can alert you if somebody has a seizure. My husband is, I'm giving away his health information here. My husband's diabetic, and he wears one of those little things on his arm so that he can swipe a phone over it and it tells him what his blood sugars are, which is great because I know his blood sugars every 15 minutes. Not because it's on my phone, but because he tells me every 15 minutes, because now he knows. But, we have a lot of people we work with who are diabetic, and, I could remotely know if somebody was perhaps having a sugar high or a sugar low, and then notify them so that they could take action. So I think there's a lot of those things, right, that we are probably underutilizing throughout our population.
And the key, too, is to, pair that technology with the needs of the individual so that there's thousands of opportunities to incorporate technology, but only one solution usually works for that one individual. So taking into account their personal factors, what their needs are, what their preferences are, what their comfort is with technology in general, if they want to use that technology, or do they still want to have that personal connection? But also thinking about their context and their environment. Do they have that broadband internet available in their area? Is there a place to charge it? Is someone there to help them maintain that technology? Or are they able to do that themselves? And then to make sure that it's a good match for the activities and those occupations that they need to perform as well.
Great. And high tech is not always the way to go, right? Sometimes low tech works better.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, absolutely.
Great. Well, I just want to thank all of you for participating tonight. You are fabulous. Kevin, Heather, Tim, Anthony, and Ashley.
And a little plug, Ashley's art is at Gateway 62 Harvard Street. I've actually bought a painting for one of our board of directors years ago because you have great cardinals. That's one of your great things that she paints. And Tim and Anthony would host us at their house at Woodcliff. Tim is an excellent host, and Anthony truly is a phenomenal cook. Not just saying that. Chicken and rice, superb. All right, yes, thank you so much. I'll give it right back.
Thanks, Tim.
So if you guys can go back to your seats if you'd like to sit down. Oh, that's right. Oh, sorry, Ashley, Tim, sit down. Yes, I know. Thank you, Barbara. Questions from the audience. We have microphones around with Laura and Adrian. If you have a question, put your hand in the air or just shout and we'll be able to get you mic'd up.
Yes, a wonderful panel, a very interesting conversation. And coming from a mental health background, I'm curious about what AI has for mood regulation.
Yeah, so artificial intelligence, it's something that's been with us for a while. It's incorporated into our phones. We've been using it with Siri for years. I see that it has great potential for mental health, for adjusting that environment and that context, providing comfort, a favorite song, or some key information or reminders to relieve anxiety. I think I look forward to seeing how creative practitioners and other innovators can consider using assistive technology and artificial intelligence for that emotional support moving into the future.
Another question? Up in the front, Barry Schrage has a question, Laura. Here comes the mic so everybody can hear you.
What's your favorite Johnny Cash song, Tim? Mine is Jackson.
Overruled. No, I have, who am I speaking to?
Barry.
I have 3 Johnny Cash, Barry. When I was 13 years old, scratch that. When I was 22, I lost my best friend who, God rest his soul, Ashley Woody, who would always sing that song, I hurt myself today to see what I can feel. I focus on the pain, everything is real. But I love the song at the end of the movie. What is it? Was it? It's not Ring of Fire. It's
Hold the line.
Walk the line. Walk the line. Cry, cry, cry.
Yeah, Walk the Line would be one of my favorites too. But
Right on, brother.
Yeah, right on.
Anybody else?
Another question. Don't be shy.
What kinds of activities are you not doing in your houses that you would like to see added as you think about
Anthony, you want
moving forward?
I like to put some music on my laptop. Also, I do exercise every day
Oh, good for you.
because I'm losing weight. So I'm gonna keep on doing in the mornings and the afternoons before dinner.
That's great. That's impressive.
You have a treadmill, right, Anthony?
Yes, I do, and electrical.
Really?
You're going to come over and use the exercise equipment and
Yeah.
get your food there. So this is one-stop shopping. Will come to Woodcliff.
You know what I can do? I do a lot of workout every day.
It's great. It's wonderful. What other kinds of activities?
Also, my parents passed away because when I was a child.
I'm sorry.
So my dad died for cancer, and my mom got sick with these two. While I was crying, I miss all my parents. Did they take care of me when I was a little kid? Also, my uncle passed, and I got a lot of family members here in Boston, here in North Carolina, and all the way to Georgia.
It's impressive. That's great. Thank you.
And I see that you take the 51 bus.
Yes, I do it every day.
Yes.
Thank you.
Allison has a question. Stephanie, can you hand the microphone to Allison?
Yeah.
Anthony, I wondered what kind of work do you do at Bay Cove? And Tim, what kind of work do you do at Trader Joe's?
I do janitor jobs. We do like landscaping, and then we do different groups, and they do outside jobs. So I make a lot of money for do work.
It sounds like you're working hard and you're earning that money, so good for you.
That's my check could be in the mail. We'll get my next check, see how much it is for do a lot of work.
And Tim?
I'm sorry, what's the question Anthony was talking a little bit? No, sorry, bro.
What actual work do you do at Trader Joe's? Do you stock the shelves? What kind of work do you do?
I'm a man of all, what was the last name? We stop it. I'm a little everything. Sometimes I have to bring the carriages, which I love that because it gets me out in the sun. And I also, I don't want to be a little cocky, but I'm going to say it. I'm always like facing the wine, facing the beer. I hope no one didn't hear that. And I'm also trying to have the camaraderie with the crew and the customers. They don't call me Black Ops Tim for nothing.
And Tim, when you get your paycheck, when you open up the paycheck and you see the money that's going into your bank account, what does that do for you?
Well, it helps me give to my family and give to sometimes Dumby.
Makes you feel like you're a contributing member of society, doesn't it?
Exactly, Dave.
That's awesome. Any other questions? All right, one in the back.
I have a question for Heather. How would you say moving to Snow Road or going to the Training and Rehabilitation Center has changed your life?
I've become an open person, because when I first moved in, I kept to myself and I didn't want to deal with anybody. But once I started that, I opened up more and I became myself again.
Other question? Anybody? Thank you.
All right, thank you, Laura. So again, let's hear it for all of our panel. Ashley, Anthony, Tim, Heather, and thank you, Kevin. And yes, of course, Sean. All right, it's my pleasure now to introduce Barbara Salisbury. While we do that, you guys can go back to your seats. Here's your gum, Tim.
Oops. And I think from hearing from all of our panelists, you understand why we do this work. MAB was founded 120 years ago as an organization serving individuals with disabilities. Much has changed over the past 120 years, and I am proud that MAB has always been at the forefront of that change. Who is disabled? In 1903, society drew sharp distinctions between people who were disabled and those who weren't. We were taught to feel sorry for people who were disabled. We viewed them as somehow less than those who were able-bodied. People who developed a disability were often sidelined. They were shut away in institutions and were viewed as being unfit to participate in society. Disabilities were kept secret. Having a disability was shameful. President Franklin Roosevelt hid the fact that he couldn't walk without assistance. Senator Thomas Eagleton gave up his nomination for vice president in 1972 when it was revealed that he'd been hospitalized for depression in the past. Today, we believe that everyone, including individuals with disabilities, has a right to be a full participant in society. We teach everyone the particular skills they need to succeed in the world. There's nothing that individuals with disabilities can't do with the right supports. Today, there's also a more fluid view of disability. We're all somewhere on the continuum of being able-bodied and disabled. We're all born with a different set of abilities, and while some individuals are born with disabilities, others develop them over time. With people living longer, it is inevitable that most of us will become disabled at some point in our life as our body parts wear out. An older person recovering from a stroke is dealing with the same challenges as someone born with a cognitive impairment. How best can a disability organization help? The idea of how best to serve individuals with disabilities has changed significantly over the past century. While the focus in the distant past was on taking care of individuals with disabilities and doing things for them, the focus today is on giving individuals the tools and training they need to be independent. Increasingly, assistive technology can help individuals do the things they can no longer do without assistance. And while individuals may require assistance, that doesn't mean they should have to give up their autonomy and agency over their life. And though MAB works hard to give individuals with disabilities the skills they need to be successful in the world, It's not totally the individual's responsibility to adapt to a world that isn't designed for them. Society also has a responsibility to ensure that everything in society is accessible to individuals with a broad variety of disabilities. Years ago, we began to make curb cuts to allow individuals in wheelchairs to navigate their community. And now we need to take similar action to ensure that individuals who are blind are able to access all content on the internet. MAB has always been a leader. In 1903, we were one of the first social service organizations in the country to serve adults who are blind or visually impaired. In 1973, we were one of the first organizations to provide services in the community so that individuals with intellectual disabilities could move out of state institutions and live in neighborhoods like everyone else. In 1993, MAB was one of the first organizations to open a school in Massachusetts that could accommodate the behavioral and educational needs of children with brain injuries. Founding the Ivy Street School meant that children recovering from brain injury in Massachusetts didn't have to travel to New Hampshire, far from their families, to attend a school with the expertise to support them. Over the past year, MAB has continued to take bold strides in all our programs to allow individuals with disabilities to become as independent as possible and to pursue their own path in life. In MABV, our programs for adults who are blind or visually impaired, we expanded mental health counseling provided by licensed therapists with the lived experience of blindness so that individuals facing visual impairment can adjust to their new situation and move on with their lives. We expanded access technology to new regions of the state to provide free, conveniently located, one-to-one computer training, most frequently taught by a trainer who is visually impaired themselves. We became integrated into age-friendly communities throughout Massachusetts so that all services in these metropolitan areas can better accommodate the needs of older people with visual disabilities. We provided leadership on a national level to use AI and mediation to improve digital accessibility. In adult disability services, MAB's programs for individuals with intellectual disabilities and brain injury, we purchased 16 of the group homes that we've been renting for years to provide stable homes for our participants and strengthen the economic foundation of the program. We embedded occupational therapists into more of our group homes to work with participants to become more independent and assume agency over their lives. We built a training and rehab center in Westboro that allows ABI waiver participants to select from an array of menu-driven therapies and trainings as an alternative to day programs designed for individuals with intellectual disabilities. We received state funding to develop expertise in assistive technology to allow individuals with intellectual disabilities to become more independent. And we opened our 7th new group home in Central Mass for ABI waiver participants in less than 3 years, bringing MAB's total number of group homes to 30. And at the Ivy Street School, our programs for neurodivergent adolescents and young adults, we expanded Skills for Life, our community-based occupational therapy support for neurodivergent young adults living in the community by accepting health insurance payment. We expanded our efforts to ensure that students graduate with a competitive job in the community or enrollment in higher education. We launched a pilot residential program with DDS and DMH support for graduates who need more intensive training and support to transition successfully to adult life. But ultimately, it's all about the staff. Over 80% of MAB's budget is for staff. It's the staff that make everything we aspire to do happen. So much of our effort will continue to be on recruiting and retaining the best staff who each day contribute to MAB achieving our mission. During this tight job market, it's more important than ever for MAB to provide a work environment where all staff feel they belong and are encouraged to make their biggest contribution, where all staff feel valued and are given the training and supervision they need to succeed. And to all our friends, our volunteers, our board members, our donors, our supporters, our opinion leaders, thank you so much for all you do for MAB. We couldn't do it without you. Thank you.
And thank you all for being here. I know you have many choices of entertainment throughout your evening, but thank you for supporting MAB again for this year. All right, I know that there's some treats in the foyer. Please enjoy yourself and get to know each other a little bit better.